partied. Even the stuff I engaged in that could be considered rock and roll debauchery was less about who I was and more about falling into the role of someone I felt like I was supposed to be. I've come full circle. I'm back to my core, authentic self. More than ever, I'm the same kid now as when I started, in so many ways. There were diversions from the path along the way, and yet here I am, back how I began. I was barely 18 years old the first time I went on tour. I was a high school dropout who moved to Hollywood to chase my rock and roll dreams. But the truth is that at that age, I had no idea who I was as a person. I knew what I wanted to be, or at least the image I wanted to project, but I quickly found myself in a new world, a shifting reality, without the experience or wherewithal to navigate all the challenges of life on the road. I tried to replicate the behavior of my rock and roll heroes I'd read about in an attempt to fit in with the older people around me. In 2020, as we arrived at the anniversary of our first album, We Stitch These Wounds, and the release of the reimagined version, Restitch These Wounds, I found myself looking back at the earliest days of Black Veil Brides. I would tell people I was 19 in hopes they'd take me more seriously. I'd pretend to listen to cool and important bands because I was terrified of being treated like I wasn't cool. I remember times I was rude or inconsiderate because I thought it made me seem more interesting or badass. It takes time to find our way. It was a journey to become the person I'd started out dreaming I'd become. I never aspired to become a 20-year-old jerk still shaking off the hangover from the night before, but as the influences around me grew stronger, that's where I quickly ended up. A character replaced my true self. There are so many odds against an awkward kid from the Midwest becoming an internationally known performer. I never take it for granted that the fans are the reason I have that. I'm fortunate to have the love and adoration of even one person in a world where so many, from all walks of life, struggle to feel loved by anyone at all. The ultimate goal was to create something grand, a legacy. I've never been ashamed to say that I want success, even when the definition of success changes. There's a stigma attached to doing too much. I've been willing to do everything that's in front of me, whatever it takes, to achieve my goals. This book isn't a memoir, necessarily. I'm too young for that. I just want to explain as much as I can about how this happened in hopes that someone hearing it will be able to draw inspiration from my story and feel encouraged to continue to build their own. I'm also writing this to say thank you. Thank you for 10 years of opportunities. Thank you for allowing me to evolve into a better person. Thanks for growing up with me, for singing with me, and for inspiring me. Because of you, I get the chance to do this all over again. Now, when I go on stage to perform these songs, both old and new, I'm not doing it from behind some rock star mask. I'm doing it as an adult, a sober, married, comic book sports nerd. And while that may not be the way all of my rock star heroes were perceived, it turns out it is who I was meant to be. To me, that is my rock and roll dream come true. Chapter 1: Gold and Gods. It should have been a moment of triumph, but the crowd booed us with visceral contempt. They hated Black Veil Brides. The year before, in the same building, we were honored with a public seal of approval from a living legend, a man in black that had blazed a trail for every band like mine. I'm Alice Cooper, and I'm here to introduce the next performers that will grace the Golden Gods stage tonight. The pioneering shock rocker smiled widely at the fans filling the LA Live Theater and everyone streaming the 2012 award show at home. Our makeup made him as proud as our multiple nominations, he said. Rock and roll right now is anemic, he pointed out. Look at some of the bands out there. I keep telling them, you guys should just listen to Black Veil Brides. The very next year, we were back at the Revolver Golden Gods Awards, a celebration of hard rock and heavy metal in downtown Los Angeles, listening to an introduction from another icon whose music we'd loved as kids. Sebastian Bach announced we had won Song of the Year, making us the first band to earn a Golden God 3 times in a row. Jake Pitts and Jinx shared the Best Guitarist in 2012. We were Best New Band in 2011. All my rock and roll dreams, my improbable but persistent plans, led to landmark accomplishments like this one. I was once a small boy in Cincinnati staging elaborate imaginary concerts in my bedroom. An isolated teen with lip rings and a modest MySpace following, and then an 18-year-old wannabe in Hollywood surviving on 7-Eleven pizza. My face went from a sloppily screen-printed image on a t-shirt to the covers of magazines. In an industry ravaged by change and dismissive of loud guitars and louder haircuts, we'd landed a major label deal and earned a devoted following. Something about Black Veil Brides.